We have a very special guest chef with us today. Chef, introduce yourself. Chef Alex.
My name is Alex Ageneau, French chef living in LA. Happy to be here.
Chef and I used to cook way back when, back in the day when I was younger, and Chef taught me almost everything that I know, but a big part of it. So we used to cook together. We've had plenty of adventures along the way. Very happy to have Chef. We're just talking about his time cooking in Europe and his first week at a really amazing restaurant with one of the best chefs in my opinion in all of Europe, the world, right? Pierre Gagnaire, right? His first week he worked 120 hours. Just a completely different level of dining. So I'm really glad that he's given us some time to do a demo. And Chef, if you want to introduce the dish that you're going to make,
yeah,
and then I'll let Chef take it from here. So without further ado, Chef.
All right. So the dish we're going to prepare today is a Cornish hen, because I know it's poultry week, so we're going to stay on that trend. Cornish hen that we're going to bone out and we're going to crisp up, and so we're going to do Piccata sauce or Piccata style with Parisian gnocchis, which are different than Roman gnocchis you're used to. Potato gnocchi, those are made with feta shoot. We're going to make them from scratch. And that's pretty much the dish. 3-4 ingredients, some herbs from the garden. Very simple but very clean. So the first thing we're going to do is bone out the Cornish hen. So this is a 16-ounce Cornish hen. Which is probably the smallest one you can get. They go up to be 24, 28 ounce. But for one person, I think that's kind of the right portion. We dried it overnight to get the skin dry so we can get it really crispy. Also, it relaxes the flesh. I think it tastes better once it's rested outside in the fridge and not like in a plastic bag soaking in some liquid. So always take out your poultry, dry it for a day. You're going to have a better result, crispier skin. And then we'll just break it down semi-boneless half. I'll go slow to show you, but essentially pull your skin so make sure it's nice and tight. And then you're going to run a boning knife alongside this bone, chest bone. Follow the bone, stay close to the bone. You can take the wishbone off first if you'd like to. Before this recipe, you don't really need to, but if you want to go ahead and take out the wishbone, please go ahead. You just follow the bone. And now you're going to get to that wing joint right here. Go straight through. Now you're going to follow again. Following that bone without tearing the flesh. That's half of it. Now, get into the leg joint. Just follow. Yes. Get your bird. Size so you can get right here. You get the oyster. You want to keep that on. First half. Same thing, just run your fingers down, make sure there's no cartilage. I mean, it's a small bird, so you will have small pieces there. If you do find one, there's one here. Just make sure to take it off. It's not very pleasant if you have that. Other half, same thing. Hold your bird. Go down that joint, cut through, turn your pan around, follow the bone. So you see the motion that you're doing is you're separating like this so you can see what you're doing. Pop the leg joint. that oyster. Second half. Make sure there's no cartilage or anything. And there you go. Carcass we're going to save for the sauce. We're going to keep on preparing our bird, so we're going to just French the wing right there. So what you do is you take that first drumette, cut around it, get a clean bone like that. Take your chef's knife.
Sorry, I took it home and then
Get the French bone. Okay? We're gonna take this bone out. So find the joint, it's right here. Make an incision. Run your fingers around that bone. You can just so now the only bone you have left is the drumette bone Frenched, and this bone right here, which we're gonna French as well. Okay, really nice. Same thing. You just make it. If you just make an incision and run your fingers right around, it's gonna come right off. You don't have to cut. You don't have to fight it. Just cut around it. Use your fingers to pull. There you go. There's always a tendon right here. Same thing. You can just. Usually you can use a towel. Pull it, and it comes right off. That is not very pleasant when you take it out. That's small details like this that really make a difference in the dish. It's the level of care that you put into something. And when you do that, and the customer can just cut through everything and eat it without any struggles or any battles, that's the way, you know? And the other half. Again. Use your fingers to go around and then cut around this guy. Got it. See what I'm talking about? There we go. So now we have our Cornish hen ready for marinating. Quick marinade, easy marinade, Italian vibe because it's piccata dish, so lots of lemon, lots of garlic because it's Italy, olive oil. That's usually we go. So extra virgin. And a garlic clove. Just for this one, you just slice it straight in there. Some thyme. So a good amount. The nice thing about lemon zest, you get the freshness of the lemon without the acidity. As long as you don't dig into the white pith, that's better. You don't want that. Olive oil, give that a stir. I kept the garlic in slices because you don't want it to be too strong. So if you were to microplane it or chop it, bits and pieces stay on the bird. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for a light garlic flavor. Okay. Season the chicken already, the Cornish hen. Season the flesh, allow the salt to penetrate. I would do that a couple hours before actually cooking that bird if I had extra time. So salt will go through, remove some of the moisture, tighten the meat, and make it better. Keep the moisture. Both sides. And then we set that aside for Andy. Next part of the recipe is we're going to start the piccata sauce, or the jus, if you will. Take the bones that you have, like this, and then we're just going to chop them up. So the smaller the better. It will extract more flavor out of your sauce. Use the wing stew. Get your pan heating up. In the sauce, we're going to put some shallots. Let's do a couple. Same thing. Keep it in chunks. So no need to get that small. I like shallots versus onion. They bring a completely different flavor. They don't have that sweetness that onions have. It keeps the jus nice and savory, which is what you want. I'm not looking to get any sweetness out of it. Only from the caramelization of it. Just one garlic clove, split in half, and then we'll do more thyme in the sauce. And there you go, they pretty much have all the ingredients that we need. Butter, pan, get it fuming a little bit. Put your bones right away. You want to brown that butter. Do not season. Never season the sauce at the beginning. I mean, you can sometimes, but it's a liquid. You can always add salt in the end. There's going to be capers in this sauce. There's going to be a reduced duck jus already that Chef made to add in the sauce. There's already going to be so many flavors that you don't need to. Caramelize those bones in that butter really, really, really strongly. That's where the sweetness is going to come from in the savory. Add more butter. This sauce calls for a lot of butter. You guess it? Get a smell, Chef?
Yeah.
I don't know, it smells so good already.
Yeah.
You know, that brown butter and we're going to add the garlic, the shallots. And you're starting to get that crust at the bottom, which is what we want because we're going to deglaze that and that's going to flavor the sauce. Let it go for 30 seconds, 31 seconds. We're going to deglaze with white wine and brandy. We don't have any brandy. Pretend we do. There you go, we're ready to deglaze. Perfect. And we're going to scrape the bottom of the pan to get all that caramelization. That's all the flavor of the sauce. We're ready to add our thyme. If you have bay leaf, you can put some bay leaf too. You can put anything you want. If you like rosemary, oregano, it's up to you. You can put it. No recipe is set in stone, okay? Everybody can always put this up. The recipe, that's the whole fun of cooking. Recipes are great fundamentals, but then you play, use your creativity to follow your dreams, follow your flavor. You know? Okay. The wine is practically fully reduced. We're going to add the duck stock. Chef, graceful enough to make for me. Thank you, Chef, again. So that's how much stock you put. You should always see the bone when you make a jus. If you put too much sauce, too much stock, it's just going to dilute it. So stay just enough to the strongest, most flavorful, deepest choux that you can make. Okay. And now we're going to make the pâte à choux for the next step, the gnocchi. Easy pâte à choux recipe, nothing out of the ordinary. Water, flour, butter, eggs, nutmeg, Parmesan cheese. We're going to make green gnocchi today, so we're going to add a spinach puree to it. Very, very easy. And pour them in water. So you take your water. Over here I have 125 grams of filtered water, 50 grams of nice butter. We're going to melt that together. Add a pinch of salt too for the beginning. Get the water boiling because we're going to get those gnocchi also pretty hot water here. The jus, keep it going like at a slow simmer, not too quick. The jus should cook. The jus like this should cook for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, since you're already started with the strong stock base. Slow and low, and then you can accelerate once it's strained to reduce it down to the proper consistency that you want to have. But we're going to add even more butter to that sauce to thicken it too. That's a quick French top right there. Huh? So it's already melted, almost. Give it a stir and make the rest of the butter. So we already have a little bit of salt, but we're going to add more salt when we need to. I didn't weigh out the salt for the recipe, but I know by heart that it's 3 grams, if you must know. Our flour. So 80 flour, regular flour. No need for a whisk, the spoon is perfect. Incorporate. Whisk. Stir. So you get proper consistency, which should be like this. A dough like this. Now you need to dry it a little bit. Get rid of the extra moisture that you have. That will make your dough smoother. That will give it a bit of structure so it gets crispier when you pan fry it, if you pan fry it. You do that for about 30 seconds. Just make sure it doesn't stick moving around. And we're good. Transfer that to a bowl. A mixing bowl. Oh, thank you, chef. Because now we're going to add the eggs. But you don't want to cook the eggs. Incorporate them with that. Just give it like a second to dry. And I've got 2 eggs over here. Incorporate them one at a time. And work fast. You don't want to cook that egg. So as you add the egg, that's going to cool down your dough as well. So your dough is going to separate and then come back together. Okay, when it's like this, has that same structure, the original structure, you can go ahead and add a second egg. So I think it's going to do the same thing. It's going to separate again, struggle to get that moisture in, and then once it's just going to give up and accept. So just keep on working it. Be patient. You know, good for your biceps or triceps. There you go. Starting back. There we are. We got a proper pâte à choux. Now we're going to add one of my favorite things in the world, nutmeg. It's going to give some nuttiness. Fresh nutmeg, always. Never use powder, always grate your fresh nutmeg. Spices are so much better when they're fresh. I'm going to put a fair amount because I like it. You don't have to, right? You can put some this, you can put black pepper, you can put anything else. I put only a tiny bit of salt because I was going to add Parmesan cheese, which is already salty and umami. Just about this much, that was about a tablespoon. And now the last part of the dish that we're going to add is a spinach puree and some chopped herbs. So beautiful chives we got this morning from Lily's garden. Just going to slice them. So when you slice chives, there shouldn't be any chlorophyll on your cutting board. Be gentle. You're going to get more flavor that way. I'm going to do a little parsley as well. Already been picked. Make a little bundle. Slice the chiffonade. Turn the chiffonade around. And same thing. You don't really chop parsley. Herbs, you slice it. Same motion, consistent motion. Nice and beautiful. Shouldn't be anything green on your thing. We're going to add some spinach puree and turn those gnocchi green. So that's spinach. Imagine it was blanched.
Blanched spinach, 2 cubes of ice to keep it red and green.
Yep.
And then blender for smooth.
Go. Tiny bit more. I like it really green. We're going to taste it. And salt. Come on, look like. Can you believe that? All that wood on the jus, it has reduced by about half. We're going to let it sit and steep on the side. Forget about it. Ready to make gnocchi. Bag. This, we're going to put the tip to the desired size. I'm trying to do 3/4 of an inch. Water's boiling. Doesn't need to be too strong of a boil because it's going to break your gnocchi. So slow simmer now. Season your water. Always gnocchi, pasta, blanching water, you always season the water. Always. And we're gonna pipe them right in. And do a couple tries, make sure that it works. Right. Getting the hang of it. And use your knife to drag it back and create that shape. If they're not all the same size, it's completely okay. That dish is supposed to be a little bit rustic. And I've kept them quite soft, which makes it a little bit easier, a little bit harder actually to shape. If you had more flour, it'd be easier, but they'll also be dumber. So I want them to be crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. Let them come back to the surface and they will be ready. If you were placing for a restaurant and doing this in the afternoon for tonight's service, you would put them straight in ice water, keep the chlorophyll and keep them nice and green, and then keep them on place. We're going to pan fry them in a few minutes, so I don't need to do that. Not too soft. You know, Chef, I'm actually taking on ice water just to make sure that they're fine. You're ready for a quick like strong boil. Now that they're shaped, and then I'm gonna just cook them through. There we go. Nice green, beautiful. Let them cool in the bath. Now the next step. To cook Cornish hen. The idea is going to be crispy skin. We're only going to cook it on one side. for the longest time until the skin gets really, really crispy, and the bird will stay moist. And we're only going to flip it into butter. It's arrived to. And we use a bit of pan, cast iron pan, non-stick pan, something that's not typical skin. And we've only seasoned the flesh side earlier. Now you can go ahead and season the skin side. Be light, be gentle. A little bit of olive oil. Hot, but not ripping. And that noise, gentle. I'm going to retract a little bit. Get it going. The side is fully open. Will allow for even cooking. So you can see now, the thigh is open, the breast is almost the same thickness. It's going to cook at the same speed. Okay, they're looking good. They're already starting to get crispy, so now we can let them ride slow and low. Ready to strain our jus. Repeat. One China careful doing that. The sauce is not quite thick enough, now we're going to reduce it a little bit. And then while that's going, gnocchis. Fish your gnocchis out of the aspat. Slide them. So gnocchis, these kind of gnocchis, you can do any color you want. You can really do anything. If you want to just reduce beet juice and make red gnocchis, you can totally do that. You want to put curry powder in it, you can do that. You can just play with flavors and ideas. This is just one of many ways to do it. You could put squid ink too for a seafood dish and make them black. Alright, so everyone's doing well here. Everyone's happy. Yep. Now, it's hotter on that side of the stove, and the leg always takes a little bit longer than the breast. So always put your leg towards the hot side of the stove, and your breast is closer to you. That will even out a little bit. Very good. And then you clarified butter. Decent amount. It's still hot but not too hot. There you go. Now we're going. Alright, the sauce is almost there. Now we're going to add some more butter. I will thicken the sauce, give it richness. So I do what it is. To taste. Always put a little less, add more as you go. Always everything you do, salt. You can always add, you can never take away. I'm going to chop a little bit more parsley actually for the sauce as well. This time, you don't need to go too fine. A nice chiffonade is great. It's going to cook in the sauce in the juice. And some capers as well. And some seasoning. Go to the back of the sauce of your spoon. Just a little bit more left. See the gnocchis? I don't know if you can tell, they're puffing. They're expanding. What happens if I shoot? It will grow on you a little bit.
Chef, do you prefer Parisian gnocchi versus making it with potato?
I like it.
Can you tell me the difference?
Well, the difference is the potato gnocchi are made with rice, potato, flesh, Put some potatoes in the oven, roast them in the oven. Prick it with a fork before you put them on a bed of salt. Get the steam out. Roast your potatoes for about 45 minutes to an hour to cook. Cut them in half, take the flesh, rinse the flesh. Same thing, add salt, nutmeg, pepper, flour, egg yolks, and then you would make gnocchi, right? Versus the panache where you actually cook an actual dough. Flour base. There you go. They've expanded, they're soft. I don't want them like super crispy on the outside though, I want them to be just kind of like a pillow, you know? Sauce is ready. Chicken is about almost there. So that one is cooked a little bit less. You can see, I've cooked it all the way, you know? Now the skin is crispy, the flesh is cooked. This one is, I mean, almost there, but you can see it's smooth. I'm gonna have to flip it for just 1 second. And that's what we're gonna do now. Butter. Garlic, parsley, thyme, rosemary, whatever you want. And quick that bad boy. This one we'll flip it after. Just gonna keep it right here so the skin doesn't soak in there since it was cooked. Seems to have cooked a little bit faster. There we go. Now add the same thing, add fresh butter to this one. Sauce is ready. No problem. You add the jus. I think we're ready to feed this guy too. And then let it. Chicken. It's cooked through. It's ready to rest. Rest it for a minute. Save that aside, we're gonna roll it around that butter one more time before we go. We're just gonna finish our sauce. A few capers. So this is why we didn't add a lot of salt from the get-go, because capers are really, really salty. And they will act as a seasoning. And then chopped parsley. Also, sweet and sour a little bit. Salt and capers, put it on. Pinch of salt on the gnocchi. We have a few herbs that we've picked from the garden, which I'm gonna roll a couple of them. Like we have baby kale, which needs to be cooked a little bit. Baby chard, pea tendrils, some greens. I'm just gonna roll them around with the chicken, just to tenderize them a little bit. And then we'll plate. So bird is rested, you know, small bird doesn't need to rest for that long. 5, technically give it 10 minutes, it'd be perfect. Obviously doing it then also. There you go. Add the kale, add the Swiss chard. And then add the kale. Just in that well. Not too much. Sit. Put that I'm gonna take now. Those greens, tiny bit of acid, tiny bit of olive oil, pinch of salt. These are now crispy. The jus is going to thyme together. See here, barely wilted, just warmed up. brings freshness, peat tendrils. The spring is upon us. Finish with a tiny bit more sauce. On the side as well. Very green plate, very spring driven, very Italian, but with a French technique to it. There we go. Cornish Hen Piccata, Parisian Gnocchi, and herbs.